Welcome to Wakanda Recaps. Molo Njani. Hi, how are you everyone? Today, I will summarize an action science fiction movie. This movie's name is Selfless. Like you, but without yourself, something like that. If you have not watched it, then a few spoilers coming your way. So it begins with this very wealthy billionaire, Damian Hale. This fellow is chilling in his skyscraper apartment in New York City, thinking about rich people things. He has terminal cancer, and his expensive doctors have told him that, brother man, you have few months to enjoy this life before you die and leave your money to the living. This billionaire has a daughter, Claire, but him and his daughter are not really close. Think about it, if you are working morning and night, something must suffer. But he has a friend called Martin and they are very close. So Martin told him that, well, your daughter might forgive you if she knows you have this sickness. Damian thinks about it and he is like, this Martin has a very good point. And he tried to call her in his fancy limousine. Claire did not answer his call. Maybe she was busy with things, who knows. Next thing you know, Damian remembers this business card of one company he received. The name of the company is Phoenix Biogenetic. As he does not want to die right now, he remembers that him and this Dr. Albright man had a discussion. Something suspicious about helping the greatest minds in humanity find ways of prolonging their lives and reaching their full potential. Something like that. Do not quote me anywhere. Now, Dr. Albright said that he has some fancy machine or contraption that can carry the consciousness from one person's body to a different one. Futuristic things. Technology, eh? What can he not do? The doctor said it is called shedding. You know how lizard loses its own skin for new one. Anyways, back to the story. This Dr. Albright person claims that his company manufactures body. Me, I would have called lies here, right here. How do you manufacture body with pig or chameleon? Anyways, this company provides some kind of bodies that have been genetically engineered to fit anyone that can afford them. So this service is for very, very rich people that have like billions and billions in their investment portfolio. Now remember his daughter Claire. Damian went to see her at a non-profit organization, Rich People's Children's Activity. Hunger is not her first problem. She has not been to Africa before. He went to see her to fix things because, he's dying soon. But he makes a serious mistake by offering her money and did not tell her about his illness that would take his life soon. Of course, the girl said no to the money. You cannot buy or manipulate me with cash. That's the problem with money. You think everything can be solved with some billions of dollars in your account. Oh well, next thing we know, we see Damian in his office. Obviously, he's pained by his discussion with his daughter. At this point, he has nothing else to lose. He must continue living life in order to fix his mistakes. So now he's more curious about this shedding thing and the Phoenix Biogenetic Company man. During his research, he understood that this whole invention was by some other old man, Dr. Jensen. So he spent some time watching this doctor man explaining the reasoning behind this idea. So Jensen said that his plan is to free the mind that is tied to the body. So during his research, he started coughing out blood, and just like that, he passes out. As he woke up, he found out machines were connected to him. He just said, I have to call this Dr. Albright man and do this procedure fast. On the phone, Dr. Albright explains to Damian that once everything is done, Damian has to leave his old life behind and that he cannot continue being friends with any of those people. Me, I would have said no. The good doctor even said that he has to come to New Orleans and publicly fake his own death. The next day, Damian enters one of his fancy private jets and flies to New Orleans. On the plane, he asked his friend to come for lunch. On his way, he stops at some graveyard in New Orleans and buries suspicious box. When Damian and Martin were eating lunch, next thing you know, Damian has a fake seizure and collapses. Fear entered Martin's body, so he decides to call 911. You know now, those ambulance people. As the whole thing was planned, his people carried Sir Damian to the Phoenix Biogenetic lab for the procedure. Now, the moment they arrived, no time for long story. Damian was connected to the machine or the apparatus. Quick, they completely transferred this man's consciousness to a much younger body. Just like that, from old man to young man. As Damian wakes up, he realizes that the old man's body is just there lifeless, dead for a lack of better word. He was very confused and disgusted by this. Then he starts throwing up. So Dr. Albright came to tell him, relax, that this is new and it will take some days to adjust. After all, it's like buying a new car, you have to understand the control. Damian is also hallucinating. Now Damian in this young man's body, fresh and all fully mented, is now also seeing things. Anyways, Damian must now stay in this facility and go through training programs and even physical therapy. This way he can start understanding the body better. Just imagine he has been in coma for many years. He must get used to the mind and the body connection all over again. Also, old man Damian is dead, both physically and socially. That existence is no more. He will have to get new identity and things like that. Obviously, he cannot return to his former life. He now needs a new fake profile and fake names. He settles for Edward Kidner. I'm not sure why Edward Kidner, but that's what he settled for. Now, as time goes by, he's still having headaches and hallucinations. But the good doctor believes that his mind has not linked up properly with the neural structure of the current body. So Dr. Albright supplies some pills for him to use and grease this neural network a bit. There is a small catch though. If Damian does not take these pills, it is possible he will continue to have migraines and hallucination. Or even worse, he might just die like that. Now fast forward to the future. Damian, or the young man Edward Kidner, has completed his boot camp or training or physical therapy, whatever you want to call it, and he must now join up with normal society. So, they put him in this lovely house somewhere in New Orleans. To my surprise, he is getting used to his new life, even playing basketball in his neighborhood. During one of these basketball games, he met some guy called Anton that lives right next to him. Anton offered to show Edward around. As per young chaps in New Orleans, they must check out all the happening clubs. When they went out that night, all the women start checking out Edward or Damian, same person, same difference, whatever you want to call him. As expected, the boy is now handsome. As a young man, he does young man things, balls with his friends, enjoy the company of beautiful women, play basketball, swallow his pills and, go clubbing. After some time, Damian or Edward becomes tired and unsatisfied with his current life. He is missing Chloe, his daughter. Somehow, maybe because of him getting tired of his current life, he completely forgets to take his pills. Guess what happened? The headache and the hallucination returned with a bang. Out of nowhere, Edward starts getting flashbacks of when he was in the army, and one small town with a pumpkin tower. At the same time, he saw some woman and a sick little girl, maybe mother and daughter. They were living in the countryside. Maybe because of confusion, he went to tell Dr. Albright what he saw. But doctor told him to forget that stuff, that he might be mixing up some memories with his new connections and emotions. As a sharp guy that the doctor is, he tells him to take a trip to Hawaii, all expenses paid. He even loaded the young Edward man with more pills, to suppress those memories or hallucination. But right there and there, this was where Dr. Albright goofed. He went to tell Edward that the sick little girl might be because of his daughter Claire that he's missing, and that the Latina woman might be a one-night stand from way before. But your boy Edward was alert, and he starts being suspicious of this man, because he never told Albright that the woman from the hallucination was Latina. From there, he believes someone is doing funny stuff. Now his detective antenna is up and he must find this pumpkin tower. Using search engine, Damian locates this tower in St. Louis. Now he makes up his mind to go to St. Louis instead of Hawaii. However, he quickly goes to the graveyard and digs up the box that he buried. You remember that box at the beginning? Inside this box, Damian put some emergency money, documents and even credit cards. I'm guessing for, emergency. Oh well, he just removed some of the things and went straight to the airport. Next thing you know, he's at the pumpkin tower from his hallucination. But that's not all. Beside this tower, Damian also sees a house. And obviously the normal thing to do is to knock on the door. But nobody answers. From nowhere, this Damian man decides to enter someone's property without invitation. Why now, Damian? Inside the house, he starts seeing medical bills and parts from a respirator machine gadget kind of device. But shockingly, in that same house, guess what he saw? No need to guess, I'll tell you. The picture of the Latina woman and the sick girl from his hallucination. He also sees the new body he has in one of the pictures hanging on the wall. From this, he can now tell that the body was not genetically engineered as the good Dr. Albright claimed. They used an already existing fellow for this. From nowhere, the woman in the picture shows up and points a gun at him from behind. He slowly turns to face her,